Well, it is. And that is the overall big picture. Most people who are gun owners have been through that process, who know how the system works, realize that it's such a primitive, archaic law. It needs to go in its entirety. There's no reason to have this extra layer of paperwork that costs Americans millions of dollars every year. But we have to start somewhere. And where do we start? The Hearing Protection Act is a great place.
Yeah, so, anyone who knows who's tried to buy a suppressor, one, there's the $200 tax. Two, there's all kinds of paperwork. You got to put your fingerprints in. It could take 6 months to get it approved. Simply to buy something that protects your hearing, all of it is regulations that I think is simply out of control.
It's out of control. And if you think back to when this law was passed in 1934, maybe getting the chief law enforcement officer to say, hey, this person isn't a criminal, made sense back in the time to the people who were pushing for this law. But nowadays, what on earth are we doing? Why are we spending millions of dollars to push paper around when we have computers? We have a system, we have the Gun Control Act that has put all kinds of layers of laws on people now who want to purchase a gun. We don't need this extra paperwork for certain types of firearms. It makes absolutely no sense. And by the way, back when suppressors were put on the list with the National Firearms Act, the legislative history has nothing in it about them actually being used in crimes.
Yeah,
so,
and they still, there is no real history, statistically insignificant as far as them being used in crimes. And so, once again, they look scary and Hollywood vilifies them, so the left's going to come out and try to ban them.
Exactly, right. And so, people are really shocked, too, when I bring up that, in Europe, there are countries that require suppressors. And they go, oh, what? And I've actually had people flip and say, oh, suppressors are okay for that little fact. So, people are just all over the place and relying on Hollywood and these different visual images about what suppressors really are, when in reality, they're a muffler. They don't even silence your firearm.